It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world here this morning and on this Friday. Headed into the weekend, and we've got fast-moving action happening this morning out there. And we'll look at the market watch, stocks we're paying attention to, national, local stories you need to know, and Nutella fans. I am not one of you. I'll just announce that up front. But later on the show, I got a nice story for you of a new flavor coming out. They say people have been asking for it for a while, so we'll get you updated on that coming up here. But first, let's get into it with that Friday's Market Watch. The Good Friday, folks. That's the easiest way to put it here. What has happened this morning? Iran has declared itself that the Strait of Hormuz is completely open to commercial ships. There's now an Israel-Lebanon ceasefire. That simply means, in terms of stock market business world, oil prices have gone down more than 10% here this morning, based off of that announcement by Iran, which means, of course, good day on the market, as you see in front of you now. Dow Jones right now up 734 points to 49,356. The S&P 500's up 70 points right now to 7110. Nasdaq's up as well, 281 points to 24,383. Russell 2K, the small cap index, 41 points up right now to 2766. As we're looking at that, and you can see even Bitcoin's rallying today. Was in the 73 range yesterday. 77,000 here this morning, 399 right now for Bitcoin. So obviously, this is signaling a ceasefire is going to continue to happen here if Iran's reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Is what it's signaling to everybody, and that's why the market's responding favorably. If that means no more war in the Middle East, especially on that oil side. So Good Friday here for us here on the market, at least, as we move forward. Stocks we are paying attention to right now. Well, Netflix is our first one. They actually did their reporting yesterday. Well, they fell big this morning, 10.62%. Investors viewed the streaming company, right? And this is the biggest streaming company in the world out there. Well, they viewed their forecast that they came out with as very disappointing. This is second quarter reporting here for Netflix. Or at least their future forecast is for the second quarter. Netflix does expect to earn 78 cents per share. Well, analysts were expecting 84 cents at that time. The stock was also way down from the announcement, and we're going to, talk about this. There come up another announcement around Netflix that is also shaking this stock up as well. So we'll talk about that. Coming up here in just a few stories for you, specifically the other announcement. But the big story, obviously, is Netflix and that Warner Brothers Discovery bid failed for them. They backed away from it, as how I'll describe it. A lot of other factors involved there. And now disappointing guidance here by Netflix. Plus, this other announcement we'll talk about here in just a couple minutes. And then a company called Alcoa is what we're going to look at. We're looking at Alcoa for two reasons. One, just catches your eye. It's down a cool 8.51% here this morning. But they're also an aluminum producer. Aluminum with the plant in the East Coast being on fire, causing a lot of, that was for steel, and then the tariffs on aluminum, other manufacturing issues with some other fires and some production issues around aluminum. That's why we're paying attention to this. So it shouldn't be shocking that Alcoa, as an aluminum producer, missed its numbers here and its earnings in the last quarter. They came out and said their adjusted earnings came in at $1.40 per share. Analysts were expecting $1.49 per share. They had $3.19 billion in revenue. The expectation was $3.28 billion in revenue. So not a shocker. An aluminum company's down a little bit here and missing their numbers with what's happening around the economy. But proof in the pudding here with Alcoa today being down the 8.26%. Then there's Knight Swift Transportation Holdings. Obviously a local company here. They're actually up 0.39% right now. But I can tell you, it's come down a lot. In pre-market, they were down earlier in the market. I suspect this stock's going to go negative here as the day goes on. They revised their first quarter guidance They did not revise it down up. They revised it downward. Night Swift Management said winter weather weighed on demand. It also added that right, no shocker here, rising fueling cost in March. Well, they said likely would put further pressure on the negative trend in supply for the whole trucking industry. They didn't just signal themselves. They're basically warning you their numbers are going to come in light based off of these headwinds that they have out there. They're up right now 0.39%. We'll see how that continues on here with that announcement for them. Later on, when we come back here on this Friday edition of McCollum on Business, well, we'll look at some software stocks out there: Salesforce, Adobe, ServiceNow. We've seen some of these stock markets, move away from AI hardware and into software. Then we saw them move back into hardware, away from software. Well, just looking at that as an industry whole here this week. Yeah, so we'll look at those three stocks coming up as well. But first, big news this morning, as we told you. Strait of Hormuz is officially open, according to Iran now. A ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. And that just simply means it's giving the indication, at least, and the market thinks so, that the ceasefire is going to hold moving forward. And that's just causing gas prices, oil to tumble, like I said, go down about 10% here in early market trading, giving a whole side on that. And then, we come back and we'll focus more on what's happening around the United States right now. And we have you want to know what's kind of stifling the home ownership options right now and affordability? We get this from realty.com yesterday. Outstanding mortgage payments, they reached a new high at the end of last year. The typical mortgage holder's monthly payment, well, it's above $2,000 for the first time ever. The average monthly payment for new home buyers crossed that $2,000 threshold in September of 2022. I said first time there. I meant first time not since 22 with it hitting that. But it's been a while since we've been this high. The rise in the average monthly payment for all outstanding mortgages is now 2005 in the fourth quarter of last year. That is the first time it's hit above the 2000 level there at 2005. Well, obviously, this is showing you the affordability issues here facing buyers in today's market. We get all this from Realty.com's data, as I said earlier. Now, these numbers are stunning on how expensive houses have gotten just on the monthly payment side. The uptick of the mortgages here, pricing, they cover the full portfolio of mortgages in the U.S. So that includes that, group of borrowers that took out loans before 22 and have mortgage rates 4% or lower. So it's everybody in this factor. And it's still over $2,000, right? With a lot of people like me with lower mortgage payments because of the earlier buying times. New buyers are facing those significantly higher payments because of mortgage rates, prices of homes. The report from Realtor.com did note that the average payment was $1,255 in 2013. It increased gradually to $1,456 by early 2020, and then it accelerated very quickly there, right, with the surging home prices, new mortgage originations after that. The average mortgage payment increased by more than $600 in just the last several years. Well, it went from $1,390 in early 2021 and obviously now $2,005 at the end of 2025. 4 years, over $600 increase here in mortgage payments. Oof. That's so if you do that math, that's a 44% increase, according to Realtor.com there. I didn't verify their math. I'm assuming they did it right. 44% increase in mortgage payment amounts here over the last 4 years. Right, if that doesn't hit you in the face on the affordability crisis right now with houses, I don't know what does. And I've told you guys several times here on the program, certainly not an expert on it. This market is not going to become an expanding market to a large extent until this housing issue gets solved, or houses become affordable, interest rates are lower, so people can start moving around and not have housing be such a large portion of their monthly expenses. This is a company I haven't thought of in a long time, so I did find it interesting. Now, this is another example of new technology coming out and taking away some old, very popular technology at one point. What I'm talking about here, yeah, QVC. The owner of a QVC, came out. If you don't know what QVC is for you young people, well, it millions of people would tune in here. You get deals, from everything, right? Housewares to furniture. You call up and order it, and it ship it to your house. Well, they are officially planning to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. So the filing is, um, you know, not announced yet, but there is a couple filings showing they're going to do it here, and that's QVC Group, which is the parent company. QVC Group also owns Home Shopping Network (HSN). They bought them several years ago as well. So they are coming to bankruptcy to see what they can do. What's shipping? Oh, what's causing this for them and theirs down? Well, you don't need to tune into TV shows anymore for reviews, cheap deals, etc. No, you can just go to your favorite TikTok, Instagram live feed, Yahoo live feed, or excuse me, YouTube live feed, and everything. You know, you can get cheap stuff. Obviously, Shein, Temu, as well out there. Kind of making it's what everybody's going towards, and it's kind of making the sit down and watch a television to get that stuff kind of irrelevant. So there we go. QVC probably for chapter 11. And I haven't thought about them in a long time, but, it is interesting that they're facing these challenges coming up. And I don't know if they're smart. Can't they just move to an online presence or at least bolster up their online presence a little bit if that's the way people are going? Influencers affecting their business a lot as well out there. And we looked at Netflix stock earlier. They did their announcement yesterday. They're disappointing on their guidance. We told you that earlier, but now the other big announcement that's kind of hitting the stock. Netflix co-founder and an executive chairman. Well, his name's Reed Hastings. If you don't know, he founded the company. He will not seek re-election in the company's board of directors once his term expires coming up here in June. So they're losing the founder of the company. This was all announced yesterday during the quarterly numbers. Hastings' decision, well, it comes less than 3 years after he stepped down as co-CEO. He did become the board's executive chairman at that time, so he's still involved with them. But well, he was until June here coming up. So the CEO job is split between two people, and Netflix had to come out and directly deny that the failed Warner Brothers Discovery bid is kind of the reason he's leaving. That was a lot of those questions there in this call, and they had to come out and directly deny that. Reed Hastings is the one responsible for the ad tiers, the password crackdown. He did all that before he left as co-CEO of the company. So he is leaving. It's affecting that Netflix stock along with their disappointing guidance out there as well. And then, we told you before, Eli Lilly's pill for weight loss, the GLP-1, the obesity pill. Well, we told you it was approved by the government finally. Novo Nordisk pill has been out since the beginning of the year here. We have cool numbers here on Eli Lilly's newly launched pill. It was prescribed 1,390 times here in the United States as of the week ending April 10th. That's a lot here, right, for coming out. This is that Found Yagigo. I don't know how to pronounce it. Yeah. Found Digo, their obesity pill. Novo Nordisk just called theirs Wegovy, which is the same as their shot. Just a Wegovy pill. I don't know why we have to change the name of them here. But 1,390 prescriptions there for Eli Lilly in that pill just came out through April 10th. How does that compare to the Novo Nordisk pill that came out earlier this year, the Wegovy one? That one has hit 3,071 U.S. prescription in the first 4 days after its launch. And that was January 5th when that did launch. So the first one on the market, Novo Nordisk oral pill, way outperforming the Eli Lilly one here that just came out as well moving forward. Fascinating numbers there. And a lot of hubbub there, and we don't get into politics on the show in terms of who's right, who's wrong, who's an idiot, who's not, and things like that. We don't get into the quote-unquote woke stuff. But I do find this interesting. Disney does have a new CEO now. There's some changes happening out there. But a Disney World fan account did come out and shared a video basically suggesting that, well, now this is the one in Florida. The Florida park has revived the famous ladies and gentlemen greeting. They had stopped doing these phrases for gender neutral messaging back in 2021 as well. So it's slowly coming back here as well. Not announcing it, they're just apparently doing it. But if you remember back in 2021, Walt Disney World in Orlando removed that longtime greeting, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Yeah, that was at the fireworks show to promote. They got rid of it because of inclusivity reasons at that time. It was replaced with the greeting that said, "Good evening, dreamers of all ages." Now they're bringing it back. Apparently, we have video proof of it coming back and everything, and it's just fascinating to me how the ebbs and flows go on, and the other side of it is back in April 2021. This stuff fascinates me. Back in April of 2021, they were very happy to announce they were going to stop the ladies and gentlemen part of it. They announced in a statement back then that they wanted its guests to see their own backgrounds and traditions reflected in the stories, experiences, and products that they encounter in their interactions with Disney. Fine. It's a company, they can do as they please. The interesting thing to me on this, they made a statement saying they were taking it away. Right there, I read part of it to you. Well, they brought it back here. There's a viral video out there showing they brought it back. They don't want to comment on it. That type of stuff fascinates me, folks, on these companies, right? Disney's making some changes here with the new CEO and things. We've talked about it here. But it does fascinate me how proud they were to take it away and do a statement and just not commenting here, at least so far, that they brought it back and bringing it back quietly as well. So there we go, folks. Hey, when we come back here at McCollum on Business Friday edition, we'll look at Salesforce, Adobe, ServiceNow, software stocks we're going to take a look at. We got some local stories coming your way as well, including that story on Nutella. Nutella says they've been bombarded over the years with a request for a certain flavor. My question is, if you've been bombarded for years, why did it take you so long to come out with it? We'll give you that story. Nutella fans, you want to stick around, come on back. Call them on business. Back here, McCollum on Business Friday edition. Appreciate you joining us here on this Friday. Don't forget, you just saw the ad for it there. New episode, The Real Matrix, coming out here at Robot TV, 10 a.m. today. And then, of course, at noon, rumble.com is where you can find the full episode for free. Rumble.com/user. TME Media is where you can find that on Rumble. Free podcast system as well. And we see the numbers. We see how many of you listen to the podcast of The Real Matrix as well. Find it on your favorite podcast system. Just search The Real Matrix, Angry Patriot. It comes right up for you. Noon today on Rumble and the podcast systems. Of course, as soon as we're done here, we get this up as well, not just on Robot TV for On Demand, but YouTube. Go to TME Media AZ on YouTube. where you can find all of our programming, except for the Real Matrix. They don't like that program there. That's why that's over at Rumble. But you look for all of our programming there on YouTube for those of you that'd like to watch us and share us with your friends if you would. Like and subscribe to the page for us. Just helps us get the word out, of course. Then we move into the main event Friday. Suns play tonight. Can they get that 8 seed? Or are they going to be knocked out of the playoffs? That's tonight as well. Big weekend coming up. NBA playoffs. NHL playoffs get underway as well. We'll be talking that here this weekend. Big sports weekend as well coming up here. So join us here, the main event, live 8 to 10 a.m. here, Robat TV. As soon as we're done, that'll also be up. All of our shows are on the YouTube page there, TME Media AZ, or just search for the show name. It pops right up. Or, of course, on Rumble now. Everything's available on Rumble as well. Rumble.com/user/TME Media over there for you as well. Main event, follow us at the TME Sports Show on X. Text line there, 623-252-6670. You can actually text us for any of the shows there as well on that text line. And then, of course, we appreciate you following us. Follow TME Media AZ also on X. That's just our parent company. That's the company that we do, our production company. Follow us there for show announcements, other things as well that we announce around the company, including our draft show next Thursday night, 4 p.m. We go live on a draft show. We'll be watching the NFL draft, just like a lot of people will be. Well, join us here for our commentary. Me, Bruce Cooper, of course, big draft person, and he goes in depth on the draft. Del Hillestray will join us. We have special guests coming on as well, scheduled to. So you want to join us there as we have some fun breaking down the NFL draft as picks are announced. So come and join us. We'll be live, probably live on Robat TV. We got to make sure that it's going to stream us that late, but we definitely will be live on YouTube as well, folks. So definitely join us. And if you're following TME Media or at TME Sports Show on X, well, you'll get obviously the links as well that we are live and to come join us over there for the draft analysis show. Pit Stop is up for this week as well. It's been up since Wednesday. So follow that, Rumble, TME Media, AZ on YouTube, rumble.com/user/TME Media there on Rumble. Free podcast for that as well. The Pit Stop Talk, or that's on X. You can find us there, or free podcast system. Just search the Pit Stop with Steven and it'll pop right up for you. And it's a good Friday around the market. So let's get it back into it with that Market Watch. Just in case you missed the very beginning of the show today, and running a little late, like everybody seems to be this morning on a Friday, right before the weekend. Strait of Hormuz is declared open by Iran this morning. Oil prices have gone down another 10% here, at least going into showtime is where the oil prices were, and that means market is happy today because it's at least giving the indication that the war and the ceasefire is going to stick here moving forward. So Trump has officially said war in Iran is going swimmingly and should be ending pretty soon. He said that this morning with the ships now moving through that Strait of Hormuz. Without even though the blockade's there, more ships are going, and Iran has declared it open. Oil prices, I just looked it up. They are down about 10% here this morning, based off of obviously supply fears have gone away with that reopen. So everything's up today. 904 points for the Dow up right now, 75 points for the S&P 500. Russell 2K up 277 points right now. NASDAQ is. Russell 2K is up 53 points right now. Bitcoin, you can see here a big rally for it, even 77,756 for Bitcoin here on this Friday. And we're going to look at software stocks here. A lot of software stocks are up today. First one we're going to look at is Salesforce right now. Like I said, last week or 2 weeks ago, we saw people pulling out of the hardware of AI business, moved to software, where last week everybody moved out of software and into the hardware side of things again. Well, this week is a big rebound week after last week. Salesforce is up 2.14% right now. Let's look at Adobe stock here as well next. They're up as well, 0.66% as we're looking at them now. And then our last one's about ServiceNow is what we're going to look at. 0.59% up as well. I can tell you that the software stocks ETF that is out there and exists, That is the iShares Expanded Tech Software Sector ETF. Well, it's up more than 14% for this week here as a whole, and all these stocks are part of that ETF. And that's what caught my eye this morning was the ETF was up 14%. So I looked into the individual stocks. So software stocks back on the rebound here this week as well on the market here today. Well, now let's get into some local stories that you all need to know. Painted Tree Boutiques. Well, if you're either a vendor of this, you got some very bad news yesterday. If you're a shopper of it and like going and perusing that and walking around those Painted Tree Boutiques, well, got some news for you here. Don't have that on your schedule moving forward. If you don't know what Painted Tree Boutiques is, it's a chain of stores. Well, they basically took over a lot of Bed Bath and Beyonds across the country, but they basically rent space to small vendors, crafts, things to that effect. You go walk around, get multiple vendors, etc. Well, they not only just closed all of its 60 locations in the U.S., they just sent an email out and then just shut their doors. It was an abrupt closure as well. Pageantry announced the closure in an email to vendors. Its last day of business was April 13th, which of course is last Monday. So, in that email to the vendors and employees, Pageantry blamed rising costs, shifting market conditions, and even the changing retail landscape out there. So, if you went in there, you rented the space, and basically Painted Tree got a percentage of your sales to be in there. Painted Tree did not has not. I didn't see any response from them for requests to comments on several outlets with the story, but reports do say that the company is filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy moving forward. So whether you're a vendor in there, because that's a way to make money, right? You didn't have to get storefront space, and you didn't have to ship stuff through Etsy or anything to that effect. It was just there, so that has happened out there as well for you. And now we got a bill that's causing some controversy here in the state of Arizona. Yeah, the Arizona House has passed a bill this week. It's going to prohibit flying a drone within a mile of large ticketed events. A mile. I don't even know when there's large ticketed events what a mile would be from them, right? The venue would need to have at least a 1,000 seat capacity. Then it provides exemptions for people with permission from event authorities and utility companies as well. Opponents of the bill, well, they're obviously not happy of it passing, but they say the bill is far too broad. Now, just passed the House here, keep in mind. They say it's too broad. And I agree with this statement. Like, if I'm just flying my drone, like in my neighborhood, like there's a big City of Mesa park by me. If they're having, now it has to be 1,000 seats, but, if they're having a big event, I'm flying my drone within a mile of it, I could get a big charge against me, and I don't even know what's happening. That's shocking. And that's what the opponents are saying as well. They say this is too broad. It's going to basically ban drone flights in most major cities because you just don't know. You don't know if something's happening. Republican Representative Alexander Kolodin, he says, quote, "We don't want drones to record ticketed events, and that's fine. That's a different bill." He says this bill applies whether or not the event is indoor or outdoors, whether or not the drone operator even knows the event is going on. And that's the problem. I could just be innocently flying a drone, and then then you get tackled, and you know legal problems and a lawyer, and you're like, what event? What are you talking about? Yeah. So now that's passed the House, the bill does go back to the Senate. We'll see what comes of it, but especially drone operators and whether you do it for business or you do it for fun, just an FYI out there of what your state legislature is doing. And that's the other thing. Stop flying drones over events knowingly. And if you're flying your drone and you see a big event, move away from it. Don't be flying it over. That's ridiculous. And that's why these bills have to exist is the people doing things they're not supposed to do. Hey, there's a bottler out there for Coca-Cola and a bunch of beverage brands. It's called Swire Coca-Cola. Well, they're expanding here in the Valley. They're set to open its third Valley distribution center. This time it's over in Mesa is where they're doing it. The facility is located near Power and Elliott Roads in the East Valley. So this is meant to help the company meet the growing demand that they have for beverages, that it produces, and it does a lot of them out there. They obviously do Coca-Cola, that's their main one. But they do Monster Energy, Powerade, Sprite, Fanta, Smart Water, Gold Peak Tea, Core Power, other brands, but those are their big ones they're doing out there in the East Valley. So they also have manufacturing and distributed facilities. Like I said, the third one here is opening up today, but they have one in Tempe. They also have that's a manufacturing and distribution facility in Tempe. This is a manufacturing facility out in Mesa, but they also have a distribution facility out in Glendale as well. And I was surprised. I looked up this company. They employ more than 8,000 people. Doing this, distributing, manufacturing, distributing the beverages as well. They're also in 13 states. It's all on the western side of the United States. They are headquartered up in Draper, Utah, here for them. So some more manufacturing opening up out there around Power and Alien. That's right there by the Google data center. That's right down the road there on Elliott as well. So, okay, are we ready, Nutella fans? Let me just say this again. Let me just put it out there. I'll try not to be disgusted during this story. Nutella to me is the grossest thing ever invented. I know a lot of you love it. I get it. I have family members that love it. I get it. And Nutella traditionally, 60 years, right, of chocolate and hazelnuts is what they've been doing. Well, they say they've been listening to you, the consumer. They're launching Nutella Peanuts. It's the, quote, first flavor innovation in the Nutella history. According to the group that owns Nutella, Ferrero Group, Nutella Peanut delivers a new taste experience that blends the unmistakable creaminess of Nutella with a delicious taste of roasted peanuts. That's what they said in their press release. Nutella Peanut, well, it's available now. Major retailers, Kroger, which of course is Fry's. Walmart has it reportedly, and things to that effect. Interesting. I was reading the story, and the press release, and the marketing person said our fans have been asking for a Nutella Peanut for 5+ years now, and we've listened to them, and here it is. And I'm like, it took you 5 years to listen to them. So there you go, Nutella fans. Peanut is out there for you now, and folks. Where else would we leave you on a Friday but with a food story, right? As we love those stories out there. And we'll be back on Monday morning, 7 a.m. as well. Don't forget, follow TME Media AZ. Parent company does the announcements and things like that. I'll be coming back in from Las Vegas here for Monday morning. Let's see if we can make it here, right, and have a good show on Monday. So that'll be part of the fun to watch. What kind of state am I in here as well? I'll talk more about that on the main event and what we're doing up there in Las Vegas this weekend. So, folks, see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Main event coming up live 8 to 10. Don't forget, Pit Stop's up. Real Matrix also coming up here today as well. We'll see you later, everybody. Have a great weekend.